Today's guest has run a sub 3-hour marathon, a sub 250 marathon, and a sub 240 marathon. He's not too fast. He's 3 fast, 3 furious. He has 2 YouTube channels, Floberg Runs and Eric Floberg, with a combined subscriber count of over 200,000. He's tall, he's handsome, he's got a wonderful mustache. He's about as affable as Jimmy Fallon or George Clooney. He is a rising star in the running space, verified by his singular name identification. You've heard of Madonna, Beyonce, Kesha. Now I give to you Floberg. How was that? Was that a little bit much?
That was fantastic, man.
No, that's just the first part. I have more. Let's see. Rumor has it he once wrestled a bear. No. Actually, no. He signed with Bear Performance Nutrition. Yeah, no, that makes still impressive, but it makes more sense that way. A man who wears many hats, mostly CLE, but also the dad hat. And that's the reason we're here today. This is a preview to a conversation I had with Eric Floberg in a limited series I'm doing called Where Do You Find the Time?, in which I talk to dad runners or runner dads about how they balance running and family life. In this conversation, we also talk about his other YouTube channel, his sub 3 journey, signing with BPN, Coach Jeff Cunningham, and much more. How Floberg finds the time for running.
Wake up at 4, 5 most days to get at least the 10, 11 mile runs in. I don't know, I feel like I have an unfair advantage now because running is becoming half of my job. I mean, most days now I'm waking up at 4:30, really 5 at the latest, to just get it in before the kids are like really up.
So I guess we can transition to the other side of things on film. You have 2 YouTube channels, the other one, Eric Floberg. One of the reasons I wanted to talk to you about how you balance the family life and everything is on that channel you did a narrative short, My Father's Son, and I'm going to drop it in the description below and pin it in the comments so everyone can check it out. So I wanted to ask you, like, what was the motivating force behind that?
Yeah, there's a good bit of reality woven into that film. Last year and the year before, start to test reality versus what's a fictional story and how it could be woven into my personal life experiences, into some sort of fictional narrative. And so what I think what I equate that film to be is it is more of a magnification of my life, more of an exaggeration, where I've dealt with all of the themes in there, but maybe not to the level of ignoring that this father was doing to his son. Yeah, so the lines are really blended. It's like, in making that film, I found a greater, deeper appreciation for my own father, and it really motivated me to like step into that more and to be even more present.
Yeah, no, I found it to be really touching and relatable, in a way, as a runner and as a dad. Was there any secret sauce? Was there anything that you did in particular that helped get you over the hump besides learning to train your gut to find some sort of fuel?
I don't think enough people talk about intensity. That's the thing. Like, your workouts are so important. Like, at the end of the day, that's just a reality. Obviously, you need volume. Obviously, you need consistency. Obviously, you need lifetime miles. Maybe not obviously. Maybe you're just listening to this and hearing that for the first time. You need all those things. Do all those things. Mm-hmm. You need to be nailing your workouts. And
I want to ask you about your sub 3 journey, the 250 and 240. We're going to play a game, and the only 3 answers are sub 3, sub 250, and sub 240, because I really kind of want to know where they land for you. Like, which of those races felt hardest during the race?
Hardest during the race was 240.
Which one had the most challenging training block?
Also 240, for sure.
Which one of the races felt the most rewarding?
Sub 3, for sure. Yeah, I mean, you can't beat the 5 years of not getting it to then all of a sudden it just did not feel real. That was the craziest part. And I was connected enough at that point with creatives around the finish line that there were like multiple photographer friends like calling my name and taking my photo, and I was just like, it just felt so surreal. I'm like, how is this happening? I've been dreaming out this for half a decade, so that was really special.
Which one had the biggest celebration
I think sub 3 was the biggest celebration. I think that was the loudest I was. I was just off my rocker, and I had the most energy because, like I said, I think I was in 252 shape, but really played it safe to make sure I got the job done. So like I was just so animated. But a close second was 240 with celebrating with my friend Sam. He came in about a minute before me, so he was waiting for me to cross. That whole experience, I don't know if that's another question you have, that whole experience in the race was entirely different because Chicago this past fall was like somebody yelling my name every mile. And so it was like so overwhelming where I'm like, this is not real in that capacity. It felt like it was just so much support on the course, and that fueled me a whole lot in the race. So
yeah, does everybody hit you with Floberg? Like nobody hits you with the "Hey Eric"? Does it? No one gives you the Eric, like, right? Except for mom and dad.
It's like 95% Floberg, but I feel like whenever anybody says Eric, it's almost them being like, "I know you're an artist." like I know what you do outside of running.
So like 250 has to win something, so we're gonna say it's the best marathon video recap. Is that fair?
Yeah. It is a weird middle child syndrome kind of race, right? Because it wasn't a major marathon. It wasn't Chicago. It was Carmel Marathon in Indiana. So it was much lower key, much less crowd support, much less hype. But in its own regard, that one, I think that was a close second in doubt because by mile 8 in that one, I was like, this is not possible.
So now we can transition to your current journey, sub 235. Not as sexy as a sub 230, but a step up from 242. So we'll go for that one. So how do you feel that the training has been going thus far?
It's been great. Working with Jeff Cunningham is a treat. It is fascinating to see his approach because it's so different in the workout structure and in the easy run stuff. Like he just functions very differently. So fits, it's a lot of 5 to 6 reps of intensity in VO2 max, and lactate threshold similar. But like my workout today with him was lactate threshold and 800-meter repeats. I'm like, I did a 14-mile workout today, which was wild. Like, I got to the end of it, I'm like, my legs don't work. Like, this is nuts.
How frequently do you connect or talk with Coach Jeff?
Well, he coaches so many people. If I ever want anything from him, it's going to be on me to reach out to him. Because I don't expect him to be sitting on his phone at every hour of the day, just being like, "Oh, this person got there. Oh, this or if he has notifications on, like just dinging all day, like workout's done. Go check on the. And so if I feel like I need to talk to him for some reason, I'll reach out to him. Like today, he's so funny too. Like he is the person he is online, which is so fun. Because
which is a second cousin to Matthew McConaughey, right?
Yes.
I mean, they sound the same.
Yes, it's so funny. I think today I sent him like the salute emoji and was just like, "Sheesh," like I'm dead, and he just goes, "That one jerky to Jesus." Like, yeah, I did. Yeah.
Yeah, and his energy is so infectious. I may have seen the sub 3 hour formula with Nick Bear podcast probably 35 times. Same. Like, wait, what was that?
Yep. Say it again.
Hold on, I was there, right? Okay, yeah, and which is really funny too. Is also he's like so excited, and you see him like running around the course, yelling at everybody, but everything he's yelling is like, slow down, And,
right?
Like, you can take it easy. You can take it easy. You would think a coach would say the opposite,
right, Right.
Oh, man. Have you seen the movie Whiplash?
Yes.
Yeah, so the only thing I was thinking, like, the only coach that I would want besides Jeff Cunningham was that guy just, hitting 400s. Not my tempo. Not my tempo. She's like throwing shit at me, I need some of that kind of motivation. But, he sounds great. He sounds fantastic. You made an announcement a few months ago, that you signed with BPN, which is really cool. What did that look like? Did they reach out to you? Did you reach out to them? How'd that all go down?
Yeah, they reached out to me. The way I tend to build things entrepreneurially is I don't try to really pitch anyone. I just kind of let the work speak for itself. And when the stars align, they align well. So BPN reached out to me, got on a call, and straight up was just like, we love everything you do. We've been watching you for a while now. We want you to be an athlete. And just straight up was like, you do you.
People will say at the end of these interviews, I want to be respectful of your time. Well, I would be transparent. I want to be completely disrespectful of your time.
I loved it.
No, just a couple more questions. There's two camps, right? And like one, I've got, like move in the unforced rhythm of grace. I'm trying to surf the wave, take what comes to me. But at the same time, there's these boats, right? And someone's got to carry them, who's going to carry the boats. So, like I'm like in between. I'm like, okay, this is one of those times where, I got to carry the boats, right? And then other times it's kind of like, what, when I'm old and dead and my kids go to my grave, I don't want them to be like, yo, that's my dad. He was really fast, sort of, right? I want him to be like, no, he took me out of school and we went to Dave & Buster's, or like we showed up. So like whatever's kind of in the way or the obstacle, I've got to like make a call. Where do you kind of fit? Do you carry the boats? It looks like you're kind of moving with that unforced rhythm.
Yeah, unforced rhythm for sure. That's totally more my personality, but it doesn't mean that I don't like to carry the boats. It's like today.
Oh, you got the receipts on the boat.
Yeah, and I mean, like, clearly I get fired up. Like, one of my favorite moments ever in my running story, it was like that shot pre Chicago Marathon last fall, where I pulled out the phone and I was just trying to get the pre-race footage, and the energy of the corral just like got to me, and I just started like jumping up and down and screaming my lungs out. And I'm like, it was just sheer passion. It was not the fact that I was pointing a camera at myself. I was literally like a bull in a pen. Like, I'm just so fired up to do this thing. I've been working so hard to like show up and recite this today. So there's that part of me. And then, there's the other part of me. It's just like, I've been falling in love with chess games with my boys and showing my daughter adoration when she puts on her new dress, and like really letting her know how beautiful she looks. And I have a whole library of photos in my phone that's just an album that's just called Kids Sleeping, and it's just all these vignettes of them falling asleep in the most random places. And I hold that stuff super dear, and I shoot all of my personal life on film, and I'm really intentional with that. There's just all these components in my life that are incredibly special to me. I mean, like, you and I connect on that level so much. So really, coming from a wedding photography background, there's been so many stories that have just wrecked me in seeing the family dynamic and the family component. One in particular, I had a bride that passed away a year after her wedding, and I went to her funeral and everything. And I mean, it's just like, it puts so much into perspective as far as showing up and being present with my own family, documenting our lives in an intentional way, and just realizing the fragility of life and what it could mean to just have everything be gone in a second. And while running is super fun, and while it could be an incredible metaphor and a driving force for you to be a better person, father, husband, if it drives you too far away from the reality of like spending time, just the simplicity of spending time with them, I want nothing to do with it. It's just not, I'm not into it.
I will say lastly, when I listen to interviews, they're like, so how can people find you, right? I think it's better. It's like, how can people support you?
I think honestly the biggest thing right now is we're coming out with our feature documentary. It's the most I've ever spent on anything before. So it'd be nice to just, in any way anyone can support that, whether it be the in-person premieres we're having, which they'll be blasted on all my socials, or the inevitable digital release of it when that comes down the line. Yeah, I think functionally that's the biggest support in the business. Other than that, like, just showing up in the comments and coming out to shakeout runs and events where I love the in-person stuff. Like, I'm an introvert, so I'm exhausted by the end of it, but I love it, like seeing the reality of a running community come together and meeting people that I've seen online so much. It's really special.
Okay, now if you laughed, if you smiled, if you cried, do me a kindness, please. Gently annihilate the subscribe button. I'm going to be doing more of these. Also, I'll have the full episode for you next week, maybe the week after. I don't know. I'm running the Woodlands Marathon. Anyway, thank you for watching.